In the name of the one holy and undivided Trinity, amen. Have a seat, please. We say a prayer for everyone who is in need of that siren and the people going, whatever will happen there. A little piece of the many readings we hear today, often overlooked, comes from the reading we do outside at the Liturgy of the Palms. There's this moment where Jesus tells his disciple to go ahead of him and basically just lift this colt. So he has a nice ride into Jerusalem. In Mark's telling of the gospel, Jesus only goes to Jerusalem at the end of his life, the end of his young life, to die. And today we hear the little snippet of a story about this country boy who convinces his buddies to hotwire what is basically a very nice pickup truck, sweet talk the neighbors into not turning them in, and he cruises right on into town. And we hear that he entered Jerusalem and went into the temple. And when he had looked around at everything, as it was already late, he went out to Bethany with the 12. As a rural kid myself, with no small amount of nostalgia for the part of my teenage history that was desperate to get to a city, any city, my heart breaks to hear this sentence about Jesus getting there and looking around at everything. This smart Jewish kid, and he's only about my age, is in the big city for the first time in a hot pickup. And he looks around at everything. He has a date with the Roman authorities, and he knows it. But just for today, just for tonight, he's going to wave to the folks on the side of the road who are slicing off their palms to welcome him, shouting, "We heard about you, friend. You're on our side." And, "Hey, you healed my cousin's boyfriend's sister from that thing. It was you." In Seattle, we might cut off cedar branches and wave them as hard as we could. What is coming after will come fast. A betrayal, a meal, a night of prayer, mockery, an agonizing walk, and a bad death. But in the midst of it, open eyes. A moment where a woman pours richly scented oil over his head, drowning his hair and face in perfume and love. You know how good it feels when you go get a haircut and the person in the bowl scrubs your head with the shampoo and the conditioner? It's like that for Jesus. But for the last time. A friend of mine in school realized that as Jesus would hang later on the cross, his hair dangling in his face, he would be able to smell that oil on his hair. and remember that he was loved. We know that there was tension between Jesus and other fine Jewish teachers at the time. People respond really differently in relationship to having their land occupied and their homes destroyed and to not being able to make their own laws. Some people in that situation say, keep your head down. Don't make them mad. Follow the rules. If we dress right, if we're polite, they won't hurt us. Some people just go mad under those circumstances. They check out, they dissociate, they lash out. Some people get cold and strategic. Other people get violent. And there isn't a right way to be under colonization, the way there isn't a correct way to be after rape. One thing that happens, however, is that survivors, when they feel hopeless about changing the structure, can start to police each other really tightly. It's much easier to blame a couple people's bad behavior within the community for what's happening than to organize the whole. And so when we read and hear about inter-Jewish tension throughout this Holy Week, remember that. Remember that the Judeans, as one group, not the Jews, when they were upset about Jesus' response to the state, which was more active than theirs, that it is not an indictment of the whole culture or religion of which Jesus was a part. When we hear in the reading today that the people that Jesus laughed and taught with in the temple turned on him, it doesn't mean that they had power to crucify him. The Romans did that. The Jews did not kill Jesus. Rome killed Jesus. If we leave this Holy Week with no other information than that, that's enough. And it is part of the story of Jesus looking around at everything, including the temple. People were there who had read things that he had only heard about. There were men of tremendous and powerful learning, some of whom liked to banter and tease about the great old stories with this rowdy country kid who was in so much trouble. Jesus looked around at it all and kept it with him until the end. Today, we begin our walk through this Holy Week. And maybe that is also our task, to look around at everything that's been left brutally exposed in our own soul during Lent, everything that feels wrong and hard, and everything that feels good and right. To look around at everything in our house. You know, those corners in your house that sort of disappear in your own mental picture of your house where stuff sort of floats. To look around at everything in our own mind. To keep our eyes open as we go through each day of this Holy Week. To take it in. Because for us, and for the author of our salvation, the worst and the best is still coming.